Guns and Leon, and today we're going to be talking about a very interesting subject. Basically, it's the Sharingan versus the Geass. I'm going to be representing Shitsui. My buddy Guns over here is going to be representing C2. We're going to go through as much information as we can. You know, some stuff is you'll see throughout the video. Some stuff is speculation. Some stuff is stuff like that. But we got as much information as we could. Try to bring you the best content. And Leon, at the end of our pretty much presentation, we're going to talk about it, how we think they would handle themselves in a battle, and who would win. And ultimately, Leon being a third party and loving both animes is going to
I'm pretty much going to be the deciding vote on which one I think would win head-to-head battle. And let's see what info I get to work with, folks. Creator, take it away.
All right, so as I said, I'm going to be going over the Sharingan. So I'm going to go just a brief history of over the Sharingan, and then abilities, and then actual Shitsui, which I think we can all definitively say has the best Sharingan from the anime and the manga. And if you don't believe me, we'll go through the facts and maybe it'll change your mind. So, a little bit of history of the Sharingan. The Dojutsu Kekkei Genkai of the Uchiha that appears selective among its members. It is regarded as one of the three great dojutsu, the others being Byakugan and the Rinnegan. Now, while its power originated from Kaguya's Rinne Sharingan, its independent form was manifested by India. The Rinne Sharingan, which the three are based off of, is a dojutsu and predeterminer to the Rinnegan and the Sharingan. It is characterized by its pattern spreading over the eyeball and 9 tomoe. This dojutsu, the Rinne Sharingan, was first manifested by Kaguya Otsutsuki as a third eye on her forehead after eating the fruit, or the chakra fruit, from the god tree. Unlike dojutsu such as the Sharingan, which do not manifest until users meet certain conditions, Byakugan is present from the time of birth. Individuals with the Byakugan are typically identified by their unique eyes. When users of the Byakugan, or when users activate their Byakugan, the pupils become more distant, and the increased blood flow to the eyes causes the veins near their temple to burst. The Byakugan can be commonly associated with the Hyuga clan, descendants of the Otsutsuki. It is regarded as, again, one of the three great dojutsus, the others being, of course, Sharingan and Rinnegan, as stated earlier. The wielder of this Kekkei Genkai experiences a powerful emotional condition with regards to a person precious to them. The brain releases a special form of chakra that affects the optic nerves, transferring their eyes into a Sharingan. Often, as per the Uchiha so-called curse of hatred, this emotion is a negative one, typically a negative one, brought on by loss or stress. The emotion can be positive, driven by a driven, as I was. The emotion can be positive, driven by the desire to protect or reunite with a loved one. It is shown during emotional state that begins to trigger the Sharingan's awakening. It can temporarily blur the person's eyesight until finally manifested. Assuming the user is aware they have awakened Sharingan, they are therefore able to freely use it. When first awakened, each Sharingan will usually have one Tomoe, although in some cases, such as Obito and Itachi, they immediately gain two Tomoe in each eye. Through training and continued use, the Sharingan will develop into a second Tomoe, and then once fully mutated, a third. When fully mutated, the Sharingan's ability to read their opponent's movements is fully developed, which will cause the user's movements to be drastically different from their earlier movements if the Sharingan mutated mid-battle. As with any dojutsu, Sharingan can be transplanted into a non-Uchiha. Example is David Bowie. Kakashi. Or David Bowie, depending if you've seen the abridged version or not. They are unable, however, non-Uchihas are unable to deactivate it. It has a great chakra demand for them than actual Uchiha, who only need minimal chakra. The only exception to this rule is if you're a half-breed, so which fall into the same as non-Uchiha. So if you're full-blooded Uchiha, you don't need a whole lot of chakra to control it. But if you're half Uchiha, such as Sadara or Izumi, then it's pretty much the same as if you were a non-Uchiha, because your chakra storage is going to drain using it. So that's a little bit about the history. Like I said, really brief summary of the history. And we're going to jump straight into the abilities. Okay, so the thing about the Sharingan is, comes in a pair because they're eyeballs. And one eye does one thing and one eye does the other thing, which I'm going to explain the difference right now. So one is called the Eye of Insight. And the user can see chakra, given it color in order to distinguish it by its composition or source. Though not as capable in this regard as the Byakugan, it can see chakra through some, but not all, obscurities and direct irregularities in a person's chakra flow, such as those caused by genjutsu influence. The user is granted incredible craftiness of perspective, enabling them to read lips or mimic something like pencil movements. So, long story short, about this complex stuff, the Eye of Insight is basically used to slow down time and read a person's movements. And as far as battle goes, you can use this in many different ways. The most common way among the Uchihas or the Sharingan users is to be able to slow down time and read a person's movement to be able to counter their attack before they get it off. An excellent example of this is during the Land of Waves arc, where Kakashi was fighting Zabuza, and Kakashi was copying his movements to the teeth. How did he do it? The Eye of Insight. He was able to read the movements before they actually happen, and able to counter against Zabuza. The second eye is called the Eye of Hypnotism, and I think you know where I'm going with this. Basically, the user can perform what is genetically called genjutsu. While there are various manifestations and purposes of this ability, the better known one is through eye contact. suggest thoughts and actions to a target, coinciding them to information or act in a particular way, potentially within the target's awareness. In extreme cases, the Sharingan user can take complete control over a target's body, forcing them to do exactly as the controller wishes. This control is visibly directed by the Sharingan's design appearing in the target's eye. The Uchiha is particularly infamous for using this ability on tailed beasts, and in fact enter it or the Jinchuriki's subconscious to be have more precise control on the beast's chakra. That's the second eye. So one eye can see and track movements. The other eye can actually do, long story short, genjutsu. In addition to these abilities, there are two other abilities that a Sharingan user can do. The first allows them to warp reality for a short time, changing reality into illusion and illusion into reality, thus escaping death and rewriting destiny. The second ability traps the victim into an infamous loop, disregarding the target's five senses, specifically designed as an imprisonment for those who use the first one. The Sharingan can evolve into the Mangekyo Sharingan by experiencing traumatic loss. User-specific jutsu in addition to the Sharingan's standard abilities. Awakening the Mangekyo Sharingan will automatically fully mature a Sharingan if it is not already. Use of the Mangekyo Sharingan causes blindness over time, but it can be neglected by transplanting another pair of Mangekyo Sharingan from a close relative, such as a sibling, to acquire the internal Mangekyo Sharingan that can never lose their sense. A Sharingan can become a Rinnegan through mixing both Senju and Uchiha blood. And a perfect example of this is both Madara Uchiha Sharingan became Rinnegan several decades after he took Hashirama Senju's cells, basically injected himself Hashirama's DNA into his body. And then, of course, the most well-known is Sasuke Uchiha's left Sharingan became a Rinnegan after acquiring half of the Sage of Sitsubab's chakra. The Mangekyo Sharingan is an advanced form of the Sharingan that has only been activated by a handful of Uchihas. The Mangekyo Sharingan is distinguished from Nor Sharingan by its appearance, which can form into changes the form of a Tomoe seal. While the Mangekyo design differs throughout users, they all resemble pinwheels. And again, it's awakened by a tremendous suffering from witnessing the death of someone close to the user. There's been many examples of this, but just a quick example is, you know, a quick example would be Itachi awoken his when he saw the death of Shitsui Uchiha, his best friend. So that's one quick example. Or Shitsui actually awakening his from the death of his friend. So The Mangekyo retains all of the Sharingan's genetic abilities. In addition to that, the Mangekyo grants powerful abilities that differ between each eye, though these abilities may be similar in nature. As each eye houses the particular Denjutsu technique, one can only access them if they currently house the said eye, even if they were the originator of the said technique. Once the user awakens the Mangekyo in both eyes, they are able to perform a Susanoo. As with any dojutsu, Mangekyo Sharingan can be transported into a non-Uchiha, granting them all the abilities that the previous user had, but again, it drains the chakra because they're a non-Uchiha. Perfect example, Kakashi and Obito. They can both use Kamui. And, Kakashi had the same abilities as Obito. So, abilities of Mangekyo can be programmed to activate under certain circumstances, either within the user's own eyes or any target of the user's choosing. This program remains even after death. Perfect example of this is Shitsui's eyes programming to protect the village, and Itachi breaking out of the Edo Tensei and from Shitsui's eyes in order to protect the village. It was meant to be used on Sasuke, but of course it was used on Itachi. Anybody who's seen the anime knows that it was used on Itachi, and he broke through, and he ended up, taught no jutsu and Sasuke kind of, and then he went and talked to the Kage, and then he was like, okay, whatever. So that's just a quick example of it, though. And lastly, the Mangekyo also grants the user the ability to read and decode the Uchiha clan's stone template. According to Obito, the Mangekyo Sharingan can decode it more than the Sharingan, but less than the Rinnegan. So that's pretty much the abilities. As far as Sharingan versus Mangekyo, the only thing you're getting extra from the Mangekyo is a special ability, which is each Uchiha has their own unique ability when they get the Mangekyo. It just depends, It just depends. It's somebody's own unique ability. So now, with that being said, you might be like, okay, who has the best Sharingan? Whether it's 1 Tomoe, 2 Tomoe, 3 Tomoe, Mangekyo, or EMS, right? Internal Mangekyo Sharingan. Well, I think we can all safely say, and I think Leon and Guns would agree with me, Shitsui. Plain and simple, Shitsui of the Body Flicker. So we're just going to quickly go through this guy, and yeah, let's get started. So Shitsui Uchiha, renowned as Shitsui of the Body Flicker, was an Anbu from Konoha's Uchiha clan. Graduating from the academy during the Third Shinobi World War, Shitsui is placed on a Genin team alongside his best friend. Immediately after the war ended, a year later, Shitsui witnessed his friend die on a mission, consequently awakening the Mangekyo Sharingan as he felt responsible. So he saw his friend die, he felt responsible, awakens the Mangekyo. A year afterwards, Shitsui began to draw attention as a Genin, gathering the name Shitsui of the Body Flicker for his usage of the Body Flicker technique. Now you might be asking, what is the Body Flicker technique? I haven't read the light novel. I don't know what you're talking about. I got you, fam. So by using the body flicker technique, a ninja can move short to long distances at almost intrackable speed. To an observer, it may appear as if the user has teleported. Sound familiar? It is accomplished by using chakra to temporarily vanish the body and move at extreme speeds. The amount of chakra required depends on the overall destination and elevation between the user and the intended distance. So basically, you're using your chakra to run as fast as you can to the next distance. I mean, it is what it is. But Shisui used it, well, again, almost like teleporting. Like someone else we know that teleports really fast and uses their chakra to have a certain technique, like transportation or teleportation. I wonder who that is. I can't. Man, do you guys know who that is? Write it in the comments below if you guys picked it up. I don't know, man. Something about a yellow flash or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
So, anyway, 2 years later, living with his parents as a jonin and breadwinner for the family of 3. Can't believe I put breadwinner. But anyway, Shitsui's berated father stopped recognizing him due to his while Shitsui effortlessly seduced Danzo at first, the ruthless elder caught Shitsui off guard by using a forbidden jutsu with another Sharingan already in his possession to break free and steal Shitsui's right eye. As Danzo and his men surrounded Shitsui to take the left eye, Shitsui managed to escape. Later going to Itachi and jumping off the cliff, the very, sad scene that I think Guns would agree is very sad. Even by Uchiha standards, Shitsui was noted to be one of the most talented members that the Frame clan ever had. Danzo even hailed him as the strongest Uchiha of his time. Now remember, at this time, they also had Itachi, and they also had Fugaku, which was Sasuke and Itachi's dad, who was, he was leader of the Uchihas at that point. So for Danzo to tell Shitsui that, he must have had something going on. Shitsui's abilities allowed him to raise to the rank of Jonin 4 years into being a shinobi and eventually a captain of his own squad. His prowess was so widely known that an entire squad of enemy ninja chose to flee upon learning of his presence rather than to confront him. Big deal. The only other ninja that I could think of that did that was Minato. A further testament to his prowess is the fact that Kabuto wanted to reanimate Shitsui for the upcoming war, but was unable to find sufficient DNA sample for it. Shitsui is able to summon a flock of crows to aid him, and he also mastered 3 basic nature transformations: fire, lightning, wind, along with yin release. He is very skilled at fire techniques such as his clan's rare Wrath of Passage, Great Fireball technique, which he could perform to a massive size, a very rare feat within the Uchiha. Shisui's uses of this technique require the efforts of many Anbu-level water release users to counterbalance it. He also had conservative skill in kenjutsu from a young age. So, or otherwise known as taijutsu. His Susanoo demonstrated the ability to unleash a barrage of chakra needles from its chest at an incredible speed to swiftly strike down a large group of targets. But his most diverse jutsu is a jutsu that allows him to cast a powerful yet subtle mind control genjutsu on his target. This technique allows the user to enter the mind of any individual within their field of view and manifest them by giving them false experiences, making it seem as if they were doing nothing of their own free will. Is regarded as a genjutsu of the highest caliber due to the victim being entirely unaware that they were being manipulated. All right, guys, and that's all I got for Shitsui and the Sharingan. You guys have anything else to add?
No, Creator, you literally covered every inch that we could possibly think of. There's really not that much we could chime in with.
Cool. So that's all I have on the Sharingan. If you want to get started on the Geass and C2 guns.
Okay. Well, first I gotta explain what Geass is. And Geass is the manifestation of one's desire in their eyes. Like, for example, Lelouch, he wants people to obey him, so his Geass was the ability to have people obey him. While C2's Geass was she wanted people to love her because she was abandoned as a child. And while she was a child, she came across a church. And the nun in the church gave her Geass powers. In other words, she got the power to make people love her. And the nun was forget what you call it. I'm just gonna say what you call it. You know what I'm talking about, right?
What?
You know what I'm talking about, right? Of how they can't die and they're immune to Geass. I forget what it's called. Oh, code. Well, she had a code. The nun had a code. In other words, she couldn't be affected by Geass, no matter who was using it. And she stayed the same age, and she could never die. Even if she got her head chopped off, she could not die.
Uh-huh.
And the nun kind of went insane. She didn't show it, but she went insane because she lived for so long.
Right.
And she saw all these people die. So she wanted C2 to take her code. And she got C2 to do it.
Right.
Then C2 got the code. And then later in her life, she came across a child named Mao. She she gave him Geass. His Geass was the power to read mind. And then later, she gave the Geass to Lelouch's mother.
Mm-hmm.
Who was a Marianne? I think that's how you pronounce her name. Oh, Marianne.
Morion, yeah.
And her Geass ability was to transfer her spirit along with her Geass into another person.
Okay.
But that could only be achieved after her original body dies. And after that, she gave the Geass to Lelouch. And I've already explained his. His Geass was to get people to obey him, but that had the limitations were is he could only use it once on a person.
Mm-hmm.
So
I gotcha.
that's pretty much all I have.
All right. Well, Leon, you've heard both our testimonies. What's your rebuttal? Do you have any questions? Do you have any whatever? How do you think this fight will go down?
Well, in my honest opinion, even if Guns over here couldn't really give much details, which I don't blame him, to any, I don't want to say hardcore Geass fan out there, you would literally have to take a magnifying glass to the anime itself if you want to.
So the anime and manga and the data books and everything.
If you want to find every piece of data that might be plausible. But
Mm-hmm.
but in my honest opinion, I kind of have to give it to the Sharingan. And here's my reason why. The only effect, or no, not the effect, the only thing the Geass has going for it is pretty much visual skill. It
Mm-hmm.
differs to different
But
users.
C2
But the
has the code. In other words, she's immortal, and the only way she could die is by someone who who has the Geass.
pretty much
Yeah.
that's like the, but yeah, that's the only good thing going for it. But I'm sorry, but in my honest opinion, the Sharingan just has too many too many advantages to it, too many factors that
Well,
would.
this video is more on us explaining both, and specifically C2 versus Shitsui. Who do you think would win in a fight, and how do you think it would go down for those two specific ones? Because we went over their base forms and their advanced forms and stuff like that, and the different forms. But specifically, C2 with her Geass and Shitsui with his Mangekyo.
I would have to say I'd have to say Shusui the Sharingan because I mean he had, I believe, in the fight. I mean this man is Ambu. That's not something to just, anyone can do. It's a tough group of people to get into. Not to
Well,
mention,
as I stated, it took him 4 years to achieve the rank of Jonin after becoming a Genin and graduating. 4 years.
That is true.
So.
Well, I feel like, in my opinion, Shisui would win the fight because his level of visual prowess and his level of intelligence, I'm pretty sure in a way he would be able to find a way to beat C2. Granted, yes, she's immortal. That's no surprise. It's
I mean, what if you use Amaterasu and burn her to death?
Yeah, like he can literally. Yeah.
You could burn her all you want. It's not going to do anything.
It's true.
It's true. Combat wise, he could probably defeat her, but unless Shisui was able to find a way to unlock her code, that would be the only way he could defeat her. And I honestly think, in my opinion, Shisui would be able to do that.
Well, to unlock her code, he needs Geass. Now, unless someone gave him Geass, then
what if? Well, I mean, okay. So the thing about Shisui, right, specifically, and as I stated before, and I'll re-pull up my notes to tell you again, his ultimate technique, that really hard word that I can't pronounce. Leon, help me out here.
The move that he's talking about, people, is the Kotua Matsukami.
Yes, that one. So as I stated, it's a dojutsu that casts a powerful yet subtle mind control genjutsu on a target. Basically, what it does is it allows the user to enter the mind of any individual within their field of view and manipulate them into giving them false expectations, making it seem as if they are doing these things on their own free will. It is regarded as a jutsu of the highest caliber due to the victim entirely unaware that they are being manipulated. So, if he uses that on C2, couldn't he make her do whatever he wants?
Pretty much, plain and simple.
Yeah, but what if the Sharingan is somewhat similar to Geass in a way?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying it's like directly connected or anything like that, but
what's your point?
I'm saying, if she's immune to Geass, could she also be immune to the Sharingan?
That's a fair point. It's hypothetical, but it's a fair point.
Hypothetically, yes. It's a possibility. It is, but still, I mean,
it's a decent theory, but
yeah. It's tough, man. I don't know. I feel like Shisui would just find a way to do it. You know, like I think he'd be able to break her code somehow. I think he'd be able to manipulate. I think he'd be able to manipulate her. If we're just going Sharingan versus Geass, I feel like the Sharingan is a better option. But if we're talking about this fight specifically, I feel like he'd be able to. I feel like he'd be able to break her code somehow.
Well, it's not about breaking code. It's not. It's called a code, but it's not literally a code.
Well, yeah, I know. It's not like we're hacking. It's not like we got Futaba over here and a little spaceship, hacking into stuff. And
yeah.
If anybody gets that reference, put it down below. But I don't know.
I'm saying is the only way to break the code is for a Geass user to kill the code user.
Yeah.
So, and that'd be the only way to. That's the only way to kill someone who has the code. I mean, if it was, unless we're talking about like a, just a common fight, like not to the death, then it's Shisui. But if you're talking about a fight to the death, I would say C2 because she can't die.
Well, of course, I'm going to stick with Shitsui. Leon, final verdict and answer.
I get
Final
it.
thoughts.
Well, I get your response, Guns. I understand that. And you bring up some valid points, but she may be smart, but I feel Shitsui has the edge, has more of an edge all around than just intelligence. So in my opinion, Sharingan for the win because I feel Shitsui, even if he could not use that on her, I feel he would be able to find a way to either convince her or find a way to break the code and defeat her. That's my final verdict. If anyone else has any objectives, put them in the comments below. We love to hear your feedback.
And on that note, Guns, why don't you send everybody home?
Well, this has been Gun Nation United. I'm Guns. You got Leon. You got Creator.
Yep, I'm over here, Creator, the loudmouth. And remember, guys, to make sure your beers are cold and your ammo is hot.
Yep. And I guess on that note, I guess we'll see you guys in the next video.
Yep, let's get out of here. Let's go get a beer.
Yeah, I'm thirsty.